Today on Faith Walk, we're going to talk about the keys of the kingdom and how to unlock the door of rest. Hi, my name is Christopher Sakai, and you are watching Faith Walk. Hey, help me out and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and push that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all of our video content. So today we're going to be talking about the keys of the kingdom, and we may talk about this for a few weeks. But today we're going to take a key and we're going to learn how to unlock the door of rest in our life. Isn't that a great thing? Jesus has promised us rest. Too often we hear about people just going through so much stress, so much anxiety. But did you know that God has promised you the gift of rest? You don't have to hold on to that stress. You don't have to continue in that anxiety if you can learn how to utilize this key that Jesus has given us and unlock the door of rest. So what do you mean talk about these keys? Well, here in Matthew chapter 16, verse 19, Jesus says, "And I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." So Jesus has given us keys to bind things on earth, which we don't use that word anymore. So we're going to say to forbid things. And he's also given us keys to loose things or to unlock things or to allow things in our lives. And I want to give you an example. You know, Jesus has given us these keys, and it's like an ATM machine. You know, if I stick the ATM card into the machine and it accesses the national bank or international bank somewhere, and it allows money to come out of the machine so that I can have it in my hand. And the same thing happens when we are believing God and praying this way. We are sticking by faith our ATM key card into the machine here on earth. It's accessing in heaven. You know, we type in what we need. It comes from heaven back to us here on earth. And so we have to utilize that God has given this to us. Too often we're praying, Jesus, do this for me. Jesus, can you help me with that? But he says, listen, I have given you the key. You have to learn how to access it. So let's put that key card that God has given us into the machine, and we're going to bind, we're going to forgive, we're going to cancel the transaction of stress and anxiety in our lives, and we're going to loose, we're going to withdraw rest from our lives. Jesus gave us this promise in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. He says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart. You will find rest for your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So Jesus says, listen, come to me. We are so often praying, God, I need rest. I need this stress gone. Jesus says, come to me. If you labor or are heavy laden, labor means you've taken stress upon yourself. Heavy laden means someone has put a burden upon you. He says, listen, if you have that, lay that out at my feet and take my yoke upon you. He says, attach yourself to me and I'm going to lead you in the paths of rest. When we connect ourselves with Jesus, that takes away the stress from our lives. It replaces it with rest. He says, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. And that rest is accessible to every believer right now. We just have to choose to say, I'm going to utilize this key. I'm going to cancel the transaction of stress in my life. Now, I'm not saying that the stress isn't real. What I'm saying is it doesn't have the right to operate in your body, because the Bible says that we can come to Jesus and have perfect rest. And so I'm going to access that key of the kingdom, and I'm going to say, Jesus, I'm coming to you. I'm not going to carry this burden anymore. I'm going to lay it at your feet, and I'm going to yoke myself. I'm going to connect myself with you. When we're with Jesus, we walk in perfect peace. Just like when the disciples were on the boat and the storm came and they're stressing out. They're like, oh my gosh, Jesus, don't you care about us? Wake up and save us from this storm. What was Jesus doing? He was resting. He wasn't concerned about the storm. He was at perfect peace. And so instead of fretting over the storm, because storms are going to happen, life is going to happen, problems are going to occur, but I don't have to let it affect me. I can yoke myself with Jesus. In that case, I'm going to lay down and take a nap with him. If Jesus isn't worried, I'm not going to worry. I'm going to trust that he is going to meet all of my needs, that he is my good shepherd. He provides for all of my wants. And so I would encourage you today, we're going to close with this. Use that key card that God has given you. Cancel out the transaction of stress and anxiety in your life and receive rest from God and allow it to operate in your life today. Hey, listen, thank you for joining us here on Faith Walk. I hope you enjoyed this little teaching, and we'll have more next week. God bless you.